Welcome to this lecture on the topic dual nature of matter and radiation. Physics as such, we understand कि जो फिजिकल वर्ल्ड है, इस फिजिकल वर्ल्ड के कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में हम दो मेजर एंटिटीज की बात करते हैं. वन इज मैटर एंड रेडिएशन. And there are two more entities we call as dark matter and dark energy. For the time being, हम इन दो कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट्स को बाहर रख लेते हैं, लेकिन जो मैटर और एनर्जी है इसको आप अंडरस्टैंड करते हैं दैट मैटर इज दैट पार्ट ऑफ द यूनिवर्स वेयर वी सी पार्टिकल्स possessing mass and occupying volume. So you can see a particle like an electron or a proton or a nucleus, or the bigger aspects of matter like we have planets, stars and the satellites, etc. Radiation, you understand, is something which is a beam of energy जो हम एक मास के साथ एसोसिएट नहीं करते हैं. It may ordinarily seem to be not carrying mass or energy in the form of, we have light, that is visible light, we have gamma rays, we have X-rays, we have infrared rays, we have ultraviolet rays, we have cosmic rays. They constitute the energy. Now till a pretty good time, जो physics की growth हुई, development हुई, it could be understood कि जो matter है इसका रेडिएशन के साथ कोई भी रिलेशन नहीं है, और जो रेडिएशन है इसका मैटर के साथ कोई रिलेशन नहीं है. बट द डेवलपमेंट्स ऑफ फिजिक्स, particularly those which took place after 1900, tended to show something very important, and one such relation which we call as a relation which makes it possible कि हम एक इंटर कन्वर्शन प्रोसेस कर सकते हैं, जिस प्रोसेस में हम एक पीस ऑफ मैटर को रेडिएशन में कन्वर्ट कर सकते हैं या रेडिएशन को एक पीस ऑफ मैटर में कन्वर्ट कर सकते हैं. दैट वुड बी ए रिलेशन ऑफ दिस नेचर. E is energy, M is mass, C is velocity of light given by जो c square है, it would be given by two fundamental properties of vacuum, that is magnetic permeability and electric permittivity. और इस c square की जो वैल्यू है या c की जो वैल्यू है, this comes out to be on the basis of values of these two as 3 into 10 raised power 8 meter per second. अब एक इंटर कन्वर्शन प्रोसेस वो है जहां पर हम अगर दो मटेरियल पार्टिकल्स लें, उन मटेरियल पार्टिकल्स को कन्वर्ट कर सकते हैं एनर्जी में. जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल ए वेल नोन प्रोसेस जिसको हम एनिहिलेशन प्रोसेस कह सकते हैं. एनिहिलेशन मीन्स टू डिस्ट्रॉय, और वी कैन कॉल इट एज एनिहिलेशन ऑफ मैटर. वन सच प्रोसेस विच इज एनिहिलेशन ऑफ मैटर इज द combination of an electron and a positron, and this combination of an electron and a positron can lead to two photons which we call as the packets of energy, जिनको हम एक एनर्जी एसोसिएट करते हैं इनके साथ, which we express as h nu. Now this is what we call as Einstein's energy mass equivalence relation. और इस इक्वेशन को जब हम यूज करें, काइंडली इंश्योर कि आप इसका एक प्रॉपर यूज करें. डोंट थिंक कि we have burnt petrol or we have burnt diesel or we have burnt kerosene. That is a process where matter has been converted into energy. That is a chemical change जहां पर हम कुछ पुराने bonds को break करते हैं और कुछ नए bonds बनाते हैं, and that energy which is preserved in the form of bond energy, वो energy release होके बाहर आती है. Those are not the processes जहां पर हम E is equal to mc square का इस्तेमाल करेंगे. E is equal to mc square आप एक फ्यूजन या फिशन रिएक्शन में इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं, जहां पर mass of the left hand side or mass of the right hand side. That means the mass of the reactants and the mass of products is not same, and it is that mass difference which we call as the Q value of that reaction that is converted into energy. We have the converse of this which we call as pair production. In pair production process we can imagine कि अगर हमारे पास दो photons हों, these photons can be converted into, so these will be two gamma ray photons, they can be converted into an electron and a positron. तो देखिए ये matter है, ये energy है, ये matter है, ये energy है. Now this equation which we find came into physics by Albert Einstein's work of 1905 through one of the papers he published in 1905 is something very important, and we have to understand that how this equation is to be used. एक और equation जो Max Planck जिसको हम credit देते हैं, which is a relation, this relation actually came out from the famous black body radiation problem in physics. So this is black body radiation problem. Black body radiation problem. एक ब्लैक बॉडी हम एक हाई टेम्परेचर सरफेस या ऑब्जेक्ट को कह सकते हैं, वेयर वी सी कि व्हेन इट एब्जॉर्ब्स एनर्जी फ्रॉम ए सराउंडिंग मीडियम एंड एमिट्स आउट एनर्जी, इसका स्पेक्ट्रम जो है वो स्पेक्ट्रम क्या है, हाउ इट रिलेट्स और हाउ इट रिलीजेस एनर्जी across a group of wavelengths. And there is the famous work which was carried experimentally on this black body by a group of scientists. One of them is Wiens, and then we have the interpretation by Rayleigh Jeans of the black body radiation. This black body radiation problem was resolved in around 1901 by Max Planck, and we call this equation as Planck's formula. What Max Planck came up with, उसने ये कहा कि जो हमारे पास एनर्जी एक ब्लैक बॉडी से एमिट आउट होती है, that is not released in the form of a continuous wave. So it would be a continuous wave like this, जिसको हम एक wave train कहते हैं. No, it is released in the form of the discrete packets. तो ये एक discrete packet है, then it will be another discrete packet. So this discrete packets will be called as the quanta. He called them as quanta, but later on Albert Einstein used the term photons for them, assuming or thinking of these packets of energy as the small particles. So we will not say they have particle properties, लेकिन एक analogy हम बना सकते हैं कि they are the packets of energy are behaving like the particles. अब ये जो दो equations हैं, इन equations से हम ये देखते हैं कि there are certain properties of radiation, जिन properties में एक radiation का behavior एक वही behavior है जो एक wave motion का होता है. Sound is one of the waves which has been known to humans since ages. इसी sound की properties के साथ light की properties को compare किया Christian Huygens. So Huygens was a scientist who was almost contemporary of Newton. So he came up with Huygens principle, और Huygens principle it says कि जो एक light है, particularly visible light, ये visible light जब एक medium के through चलती है, it follows the same pattern जैसे sound एक medium में चलती है in the form of compressions, rarefactions, compressions, rarefactions. So sound एक longitudinal wave है. So he assumed कि there is existence of a medium throughout this universe called as luminiferous ether. Or this luminiferous ether is something which can propagate light, वैसे ही जैसे हम air के through sound को चलाते हैं, luminiferous ether can propagate light. Huygens was able to explain the phenomena like reflection, refraction by using his model which we call as Huygens principle. And later on, ये अगर तकरीबन 1690s का वर्क है, in 1695 he was able to discover a phenomenon called as polarization. And a group of French engineers ranging from around 1814 to 1820, they took this idea quite forward and were able to establish a couple of properties, जो properties खाली waves दिखाती हैं. The prominent names in that list are, one of them is an English physicist, he was Thomas Young. So जो Young है, he came up with the experimental evidence of the phenomenon of interference in case of visible light. Interference तब होता है जब visible light आप सुपरपोज करेंगे, और सुपरपोजिशन इज कि अगर एक क्रस्ट पर गिरता है, दिस इज वेव नंबर 1, दिस इज अनदर वेव नंबर 2, अगर क्रस्ट पर गिरता है तो यहां पर एक ऐसा एम्पलीट्यूड बिल्डअप होगा, बिकॉज द एनर्जी विच विल बी रीडिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड इन द मीडियम, वो इन जगहों पर जहां पर एक जिसको हम कंस्ट्रक्टिव इंटरफेरेंस कहते हैं, वहां पर एम्पलीट्यूड बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ जाता है. सो दिस इज द इंक्रीज्ड एम्पलीट्यूड. अगर ये A1 एम्पलीट्यूड है, ये A2 है, सो दिस वुड बी इक्वल टू A1 प्लस A2. देयर इज इक्वल पॉसिबिलिटी कि अगर ऐसा हुआ, ये मेरे पास एक वेव है और इस वेव पर एक और वेव सुपरपोज हो जाती है इन दिस मैनर सच दैट द क्रस्ट फॉल्स ऑन ट्रफ. तो अगर इसका एम्पलीट्यूड है A1, इसका एम्पलीट्यूड है A2, देन इन दिस रीजन देयर विल बी अ डिक्रीज्ड इंटेंसिटी, बिकॉज जो नेट एम्पलीट्यूड होगा दैट विल बी इक्वल टू A1 माइनस A2. The outcome of this experiment was highly surprising at that time, और ये वर्क कैरी किया आगे फ्राउनहोफर, फ्रेस्नेल और मालूस ब्रूस्टर, इन साइंटिस्ट ने. They were actually the people who worked on this phenomena from 1814 to around 1825 or so, ताकि एक अच्छा एविडेंस, एक्सपेरिमेंटल एविडेंस हमें मिला that light shows the property of interference, diffraction, polarization. Now these phenomena, they belong to the category कि जो असल में रेडिएशन है, इसका जो बेसिक नेचर है वो एक वेव का है, और जो मैटर है जो इसका बेसिक नेचर है वो एक पार्टिकल का है. पार्टिकल की एक सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि इट इज ऑलवेज लोकलाइज्ड. लोकलाइज्ड मीन्स कि आपके पास एक पार्टिकल है, आप उसको थ्रो करें, वो एक स्पेस में एक वक्त पर एक जगह रह सकता है, जबकि जो वेव है ये एक नॉन लोकलाइज्ड एंटिटी है. इसको आप एक मीडियम में डाल दें तो इट कैन बी प्रेजेंट एट मेनी प्लेसेस एट द सेम टाइम. एक वेव एक ही वक्त पर मीडियम में कई जगह हो सकती है, लेकिन पार्टिकल एक वक्त पर एक जगह ही रह सकता है. नाउ दिस मेजर डिफरेंस ऑफ लोकलाइजेशन एंड नॉन लोकलाइज्ड बिहेवियर, it makes us to believe कि whatever is a wave cannot be a particle, and whatever is a particle cannot be a wave. In that sense, the matter becomes a particular entity of the physical world, which is actually a particle, or it shows a particle behavior, whereas the radiations, including visible light and other radiations, they become practically the non-localized entities who exhibit the wave phenomena. But somehow, towards the end of the 19th century, what we see is that beginning of 20th century, there were certain theories जिसमें मैक्स प्लैंक का वर्क ब्लैक बॉडी रेडिएशन प्रॉब्लम पर, और एल्बर्ट आइंस्टाइन का वर्क, इनिशियल प्रिलिमिनरी वर्क्स थे जिनमें they were the ideas of resolving an issue. जिस इशू में एक फिनोमिनल है जिसको हम फोटो इलेक्ट्रिक इफेक्ट कहते हैं, who was discovered around 1872 by W. Smith, and later on Heinrich Hertz. He made a large number of experiments establishing what we today call as laws of photoelectricity. Now this photoelectric effect, which is a phenomenon where we see कि electrons can be emitted by the surface of a metal जिस पर एक suitable radiation गिरनी चाहिए, it is explained by Albert Einstein on the basis of the photon theory by assuming कि जिस radiation को हम एक wave समझते हैं उसका behavior जब तक हम एक particle के जैसा interpret ना करें तब तक photoelectric effect explain नहीं हो पाता है. So this radiation behaving like a particle becomes something surprisingly important कि जब फोटो इलेक्ट्रिक इफेक्ट के लॉज को हम एक्सप्लेन करने की बात करते हैं, वी आर एबल टू गिव ए फेयर एक्सप्लेनेशन टू द एक्सपेरिमेंटल लॉज ओनली बाय अज्यूमिंग कि एक रेडिएशन एक पार्टिकल बिहेवियर दिखाए, and those particle or those packets of energy or particles of the radiation are what we call as the photons. This whole process, it ended up somehow in a very different manner around 1923. 1923, the evidence that the radiations behave like particles through the phenomenon of photoelectric effect, scintillation effect, Compton effect, H. Compton, who studied the phenomenon of the same type with X-rays, these became experimentally very strong evidences that light behaves in the form of particles. Now this French scientist, a scientist who was writing his PhD dissertation, he came up with a very important idea at that time. So this is around 1923. He came up with an idea कि नेचर की एक खास सिमेट्री है. How nature is symmetric, it seems to be exhibiting different patterns, different entities, but the basic structuring of nature seems to be unified. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर हम आप एक बीम ऑफ लाइट लें, उस बीम ऑफ लाइट को हम रिलीज करें, इट ऑलवेज ट्राइज टू शूट अलोंग द पाथ विच इज अ स्ट्रेट लाइन, विच मीन्स कि एक पॉइंट से लेके दूसरे पॉइंट तक जब लाइट जाने की बात करता है तो इट टेंड्स टू फॉलो द पाथ ऑफ लीस्ट टाइम. नाउ दिस लीस्ट टाइम becomes something, you are minimizing time of travel by following a straight path. Otherwise, एक लाइट बीम को अगर A से B तक जाना है, ये ऐसे भी जा सकता था, ये ऐसे भी जा सकता है. Why it always goes like this? There is a tendency to follow the path of least time. In mechanics, we have a principle called as Maupertian principle of least action. In mechanics, we call the product of linear momentum and position as the action. So a system, a mechanical system, tends to evolve in such a manner that it shows the path of least action, or it follows the path of least action. So this is sometimes what we call as the action. ये position है, change in position, और P is linear momentum. Then we have a path followed by a charge inside a conductor. A conductor which has some resistance. So if you put a certain current, which is a set of particles, अगर आप एक करंट को डालते हैं किसी मीडियम में, it will always have a tendency to follow the path of least resistance. अब देखिए, एक तरफ least resistance, least time और least action, अलग अलग फिनोमेना. एक इलेक्ट्रिसिटी का है, चार्ज का मोशन है, दूसरा लाइट के फोटोन्स का मोशन है, और तीसरा मटेरियल पार्टिकल्स का मोशन है. Although they seem to be quite divergent to us, but nature has a converging property, as I said, the least time, the least resistance and the least action. तो ये एक आर्ग्यूमेंट बन सकता है that there seems to be a fundamental symmetry among the phenomena of nature, जिसको लोई डी ब्रॉगली ने एक स्ट्रॉन्ग पिलर माना फिजिक्स का, और on this basis he made a statement. Fortunately, after a couple of years of putting forward his hypothesis, which we call as de Broglie's hypothesis, he was able to find the experimental evidence through the hands of two American physicists. One was Davison and other was Germer, जिन्होंने इस hypothesis को prove किया, and he is the recipient of Nobel Prize, suggesting कि एक इलेक्ट्रॉन जो है वो एक वेव का बिहेवियर दिखा सकता है, जो वेव्स की एक फंडामेंटल प्रॉपर्टी है जिसको हम डिफ्रैक्शन कहते हैं. द इलेक्ट्रॉन कैन शो अ डिफ्रैक्शन फिनोमेनन. नाउ व्हाट de Broglie did, he messed up these two equations. I am using the word messed up because अगर इनका आप डोमेन देखेंगे, इस इक्वेशन में हम बात करते हैं that I have a particle of mass m and this is c square velocity of light, the energy equivalent of this particle or mass, which we call as energy equivalence or energy mass equivalence relation of Einstein, is suggested like this. And there is altogether another equation which seems to be different from here, क्योंकि ये इक्वेशन एक फोटोन की बात करता है कि अगर हम एक रेडिएशन लें, उस रेडिएशन का फ्रीक्वेंसी हो न्यू, दिस इज रेड एज न्यू, और h जो है वो प्लैंक्स कांस्टेंट है, फिर उस जो रेडिएशन के कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में हम फोटोन्स की बात करते हैं, हाउ दोज फोटोन्स वुड बी, दैट हाउ those photons will carry an energy given by E equal to h nu. Now the dissertation of de Broglie carried that अगर हम इन दोनों को आपस में इक्वेट करें, let me try like this, that I have something, कि मैं ये कहता हूं कि एक पार्टिकल एक वेव का बिहेवियर दिखा सकता है, एक रेडिएशन का बिहेवियर दिखा सकता है, और उसी तरह जिस तरह से एक रेडिएशन पार्टिकल का बिहेवियर दिखा सकता है. This was the major argument on basis of which de Broglie gave his hypothesis. Now, when I write this equation, mc square is equal to h into nu, you can write it like this, that mc into c is equal to h into nu. You can write it like this, that mc is equal to h into nu divided by c. तो आपको याद होगा कि जब हम mc लिखते हैं, it reminds you of a product of mass and velocity, और मैकेनिक्स में हम मास और वेलोसिटी के प्रोडक्ट को मोमेंटम कहते हैं. Let me call this for a while that I am writing the momentum of a photon equal to m into c. c is 3 into 10 raised per 8 meter per second, और this momentum I write as h into. देखिए आपके पास ये रिलेशन है that velocity of a wave is equal to frequency into wavelength. Therefore जो nu by c है, this can be written as 1 by lambda. तो मैं इस nu by c को 1 by lambda से रिप्लेस करता हूं, and here I rearrange this equation, जहां से मैं ये लिखूं that lambda is equal to h divided by p. Now will this equation, which is actually being written for a photon, will it be a legitimate, क्या ये एक eligible equation है जो एक particle of matter follow करे? That is to be seen. We cannot guarantee such mixing up of the concepts in physics, that whether it will lead to something meaningful to nature or not. मगर de Broglie का जो इसमें strength था argument में कि nature loves symmetry, he assumed that this equation, which is actually true for something bearing a wavelength, that is a radiation, must be true for a moving particle. Because as I said कि जो उसका major plausibility है वो ये है कि if a radiation can behave like a particle, then a particle must behave as a wave. So it was his luck that whether this would be something which nature would accept or not, there it was to be seen whether it is true or not. And he was fortunate enough that nature did have this thing in it. And if we see that this relation, that lambda is equal to h by p, has to be followed by a particle of nature, we can think about now a wavelength associated with a moving particle, because motion of the particle becomes essential. क्योंकि जो p इसमें है, that p is actually now I am writing it for a moving particle which has not necessary velocity c with it, but it has a velocity v with it. ये इसका v है, जो particle का velocity है, don't confuse it for nu, तो ये v है. So this is the moving particle which will possess a wavelength, and that wavelength is called as the de Broglie wavelength. तो जो ये lambda है, this is what we call as de Broglie wavelength of a material particle, and this wave which we see as a wave associated with a moving particle is called as a matter wave. So ये जो wave है, this will be called as a matter wave, or we can also call it as de Broglie wave. Now what is significant in this equation is कि इसमें जो H का constitution है, जो H की occurrence है, जो H की value है, which is equal to 6.62 into 10 raised power minus 34 joule second, seems to be a very small constant of nature. How that makes an impact on the further consideration of this equation, वो आप देख सकते हैं कि if I calculate the de Broglie wavelength associated with an electron, assume कि मेरे पास एक इलेक्ट्रॉन है, so this is 6.62 into 10 raised power minus 34 divided by the mass of an electron is 9.1 into 10 raised power minus 31 kg, or assume that an electron is moving with a velocity of 10 raised power 6 meter per second, 10 raised power 6 meter per second. तो ये तो अब इलेक्ट्रॉन के लिए मैंने इसके de Broglie wavelength की बात की. I have taken the typical value of the velocity of electron which occurs inside the atom. Atom में इसकी velocity तकरीबन 10 raised power 6 meter per second की होती है. तो you can make a calculation here. You will realize कि it will become something like 6.62 into 10 raised power minus 34 plus 31. So minus 34 plus 31 will be 10 raised power minus 3 divided by 9.1, और ये जो 6 है, this 6 will go as minus 6. So this will be 6.62 divided by 9.1 into 10 raised power minus 9 meter. I can roughly see if I divide this, तो ये कुछ एंगस्ट्रॉम्स में चला जाएगा. It will be some 1, 2 or 1 point something angstrom. Angstrom is 10 raised power minus 10 meter. Now let's calculate this lambda for a moving ball. Say I have a ball of cricket which has been hit, or I have a bullet in motion. Say the bullet is just 10 grams. So I can calculate that what will be, this is for electron and now this is for a moving bullet. Moving bullet we can see with the naked eyes. At least अगर वो rest में था या slow motion में चल रहा था, you could see it. So that way this is 6.62 into 10 raised power minus 34 divided by 1 gram is 1 by 1000, or 10 gram is 10 by 1000, which means 0.01 kg multiplied by, देखिए उसका जो मास मैंने ले लिया, I have now to take its velocity. Let me say the velocity is nearly 100. तो आप देखेंगे this will be 1 by 100 into 100, तो ये cancel out हो जाएगा. You get roughly the value. So ये 1 by 100 और 100 1 हो जाएगा. So you'll get roughly the value of 6.62 into 10 raised power minus 34 meter. This is inherently built कि जब हम massive particles की बात करते हैं, assume a bullet or a bus or a ball in motion, the velocities become small. और उस small velocity के साथ जब हम mass को associate करते हैं, which is a huge mass, as compared to the subatomic particles like we have electron or we have proton or we have neutrons, the difference gets in. So you will see कि ये जो wavelength है, this becomes nearly a very very unobservable type of wavelength. So हमें जो हमारी डे टू डे लाइफ है उसमें एक बुलेट के साथ किस तरह की एक वेवलेंथ एसोसिएटेड रहेगी, हमें उसका कोई इंप्रेशन नहीं पड़ पाता है. जबकि इलेक्ट्रॉन के केस में यही वैल्यू तकरीबन 10 raised power minus 10 मीटर के आसपास की है. देयर इट इज कंसिडरेबल. Now when I say that electron is behaving like a wave, I could cause the phenomenon of interference, diffraction or polarization associated with this wave, and luckily we have another very important thing happening कि अगर आप एक solid crystal की बात करते हैं, जो solid crystal में atoms होते हैं which are regularly arranged like this, this gap which we call as the interatomic gap is nearly of the order of few angstroms. So it is nearly of the order of 10 raised power minus 10 meter. Even though physical world में एक grating बनाना जिसमें हम lines draw करें which are as close as 10 raised power minus 10 meter is not so simple, but we can use the crystals of metals for causing the phenomenon of diffraction in case of the electron beams which have a wavelength of nearly 10 raised power minus 10 meter. क्योंकि एक जो important principle है diffraction का वो ये है that the interatomic gap or the size of slit through which you pass the particle must be nearly equal to the wavelength of that wave. So जो lambda है, it should be nearly equal to the size of the slit, which is satisfied in this case. And it was, as I said, that de Broglie was a fortunate scientist कि उसके बिल्कुल within 3 to 4 years of his hypothesis in 1927, a proof, experimental evidence came for the diffraction of electrons through an experiment initially carried by Davison and Germer and later on by G.P. Thomson. And both ideas, they show that there is experimental evidence for existence of matter waves. अब इस matter waves की जो properties हैं, those properties that are to be seen कि they are not actually electromagnetic waves. जो matter waves की property है वो ये है कि when a matter wave is associated with a particle, they are independent of the charge of the particle. This is a significant thing. They don't depend on the charge of the particle. Like a proton with a positive charge and an electron with a negative charge, they could not be distinguished on the basis of value of lambda, क्योंकि lambda, which we call as h by mv, so this is h by mv, is not to be dependent on the charge of the particle. Whereas if you see an electromagnetic wave is produced by acceleration of a charged particle somewhere, चाहे वो एक एटम के अंदर है या चाहे वो एक LC सर्किट में है, you are causing the acceleration of the charged particle that leads to the production of an electromagnetic wave, whereas a matter wave is independent of the charge of the particle. The wavelength of a matter wave is inversely proportional to the mass of the particle. So bigger the particle, smaller will be the wavelength. You have the practical calculation here, and it is inversely proportional to the velocity of the particle. That way you have to see that जो इसकी properties हैं, these properties are not similar to that of electromagnetic waves. So wave word के होने से don't start thinking they are electromagnetic waves, they are a different entity. How do we associate a particle with a matter wave? We use a certain interpretation of Born, we call it as Max Born interpretation, कि जब भी आपको एक पार्टिकल को कहीं देखना है, you have to understand कि उस जगह पर जहां पर पार्टिकल आपको देखना है वहां पर आप एम्पलीट्यूड कैलकुलेट करें मैटर वेव का, और एम्पलीट्यूड स्क्वायर विच विल बी इंटेंसिटी ऑफ दैट मैटर वेव, वो रिप्रेजेंट करेगा कि पार्टिकल की अकरेंस कहां ज्यादा प्रोबेबिलिस्टिक है और कहां कम प्रोबेबिलिस्टिक है. De Broglie's this hypothesis became the groundwork for something which was yet to come in 1924, that was a wave equation called Schrodinger's wave equation. And this Schrodinger's wave equation is something which has more information about the evolution of a particle in it, and this Schrodinger's wave equation is something which becomes the basic tool of understanding the atomic world, and we are into the realm of wave mechanics, what you call, or you can call it as quantum mechanics in physics. और इस सारी जो प्रोसेस है, इस प्रोसेस में आपने देखा कि how we have come across a philosophical idea where we think initially that the universe or the physical world, which has dominantly two forms, that is matter and radiation, we are keeping dark energy and dark matter out of discussion, which are also the parts of the physical universe existing around us, and how matter and radiation were initially thought to be different from each other. There is no relation between them, but the later developments in physics showed that if a radiation can act as a particle must act as a radiation. The radiation is intrinsically a wave, so a particle must act as a wave. And then the wave associated with this particle will have different properties. कुछ properties वो similar हैं, लेकिन there are some different properties which it will show with respect to the occurrence in this world, or there is an evidence in experimental form for the existence of matter waves. जैसे मैंने कहा, Davison and Germer experiment shows how diffraction of electron beams can be caused, or G.P. Thomson experiment shows the existence of these waves. de Broglie's hypothesis was a very important game changer for physics, और जो श्रोडिंगर इक्वेशन का आना था, that was something which would reveal some deeper secrets of nature, जिसको आज हम quantum mechanics कहते हैं. And it is trying to resolve some more problems which we today face with the world, physical world, in the realm of the subatomic particles and the atomic phenomena. Thank you.